All right. Well, guys, thank you so much. We are going to go ahead and get started with ACCFI Presents. It is a pleasure to be here with Miss Patty Hoffpauir of the Garden Room. We've been talking about a variety of different things that have happened since the global pandemic has started earlier this year. And, it's really been such a change for retailers, across the globe, really about how we're going to market, how we're supporting our customers, what reopening looks like. And, this is really something that is really taking the world by storm. But what I love is that here in Austin, we get a chance to talk to some of our local business owners who are doing incredible work despite the challenges. And so, Patty, it is a pleasure to have you here to talk with us about what this looks like for you. So, could you tell us a little bit more about the Garden Room and, how you got started and what your store is like?
Well, let's see. The store was founded in 1979, but I didn't come into it until 1983. And my background was actually in women's clothing, trained at Federated. And we kind of changed from a gift store to a clothing store because I felt like at that time I was better trained to do clothing. And
Hmm.
I like the pace of clothing and the change in the seasons. And that's really what retail is about. It's about change. So this pandemic has been yet another challenge. We've been through several in the
Hmm.
80s, the 90s. So we're learning to pivot once again.
Right.
And I think this time it's a little bit more serious. Last time
Hmm.
it was just economic. This time it's includes health and our families and our staff. And
Hmm.
so we're just being as careful as we can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What I appreciate and one of the reasons why I was really excited to have our conversation today was because, I know that you've seen different seasons in your business and, having gone through different times like this before, I think you did a great job kind of explaining like why this time is different. Um, what's your like, how are how are people finding you normally? Like, before this all kind of got started, what was your like, who's your customer, like who comes into the Garden Room, what's that normally like, or
Well,
who's
my
there?
customer is really me. I mean, I've grown up with my customers. So we've been from the we were 30 years old and now we're in our 60s and 70s and we're adding new customers, but that core customer group is probably my age.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we've used Facebook, Instagram. It's interesting because Facebook was first and then everybody's now understanding Instagram, my age. And so we use those to bring people in. But we did our foundation prior to that by participating in the community. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean is we did style shows for Ballet Austin, style shows
Mm.
for Helping Hand, style shows for Links. We
Mm-hmm.
built a ground level customer from those events and supporting
Mm-hmm.
our community. And my customers supporting us right now. So um, it's a
I
good
love
feeling.
that. Absolutely. And I love that you've really found your customer in so many different areas, the links, which is, typically, from what I've seen, predominantly an African American civic organization,
Oh,
doing incredible work in the community, to Helping Hands, that's really focused on helping women who've gone through breast cancer, right? Like they were, or
Helping
other.
that's a home for children.
Oh, that Helping Hands. I'm
Yeah, help.
sorry.
And then
Yeah,
we
so
the
there's a
symphony,
couple of
Ballet
them.
Austin.
Yes, in Valley Austin. So
Yeah.
what I love is that you're working with a variety of different organizations, and really, the Garden Room being a support, maybe in ways that other people wouldn't have already known, had they not gotten a chance to speak with you today, like how you guys are, so connected, you know, with the community as well as to your customer. One of the things that, we've been talking about is how merchandisers and, the customer conversation has been changing or developing kind of over this, pandemic. And, whenever everything happened, in terms of like shutdowns and, everyone having to stay at home, like, what was that like for you? What was that like for the store?
The first week I would just come and just sit in a quiet store. It was shocking. And I would meet the UPS man and I would take the orders that I had coming in because March, April, May are huge deliveries for us.
Wow.
So I would wait for him and then I would leave.
Mm-hmm.
And about the third week, we decided to touch base with our customers, find out how they are. Are they okay? Is their family okay? Just that phone call. And then we started, posting what we had in the store that was comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have had this up prior to this, but on our website, we did not have a way to buy from us. We didn't have a commerce site.
Mm-hmm.
So in that week, I worked real closely with Zargoon Dean, and he helped me get that website up. We put
Mm-hmm.
real comfortable clothes on it. We presented ourselves. Just buy a new T-shirt, you'll feel much better. So,
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
but it was incredible because there was so much information in our computer as to what people already had in their closets from us.
Mm-hmm.
And then I reached out and asked them, send me a picture of those favorite things that you have in your closet, because I knew everybody was cleaning out their closet during this time.
Right.
We kind of had a fun little program going on with that.
I love that.
And then we offered some new pieces for the closet.
Uh-huh.
By taking, we took videos of clothing that we, very, very specific pieces for people. And we put together a little mini capsule. And then I would send the video to them and ask them, was there anything in this that they would, we asked their permission first if they were interested.
Of course.
And we put together a little capsule and give me a call when you get outside the store. I'll run it out to you.
Oh, that's great.
And you can take it home and try it on. Well, then somehow it got to be retail to go on a larger scale with the state. So we were kind of ahead of that. We
That's
were already
excellent.
doing that.
That's excellent. No, I love that. So it really kind of creates like a digital space for the customer to still connect with you. They get a chance to kind of shop some looks and something that's been curated, and they still get some of that one-on-one time with you that I think a lot of your customers seem to really enjoy. I've been over to the store, a few, quite a few times, and it's so cool to see how much of a community and how much people really know it's each other and know you.
Well, that's the fun of retail, that we know our customers and we know what their needs are and we know their families. We know we can pivot so much more quickly than a large box store. And that's the
Right.
beauty of a small business. Those first few weeks were scary. I'm not going to lie to you. They were very scary. It's still scary,
Mm-hmm.
but we're just doing what we do best. We're looking forward to the fall. Hopefully won't have a reoccurrence of this. We won't have a
Right.
stay at home.
Yeah, we're hoping. We are so hoping. What I really, when I've talked with, your business, talked with other businesses, what I've been so impressed by is your ability to come up with these innovative ways to connect with your customer. I really love what you were saying before about, how you were, pulling, pieces, or, trying to find things that were, would connect with them, or even just kind of talking to them where they are. It's like, what, maybe you don't want to get dressed up right now. Maybe you just want a really good soft t-shirt, and being able to meet those needs, like when it's needed. One of the things that actually was what I talked to you about this before, I really love that you've got all of these great new face coverings. Do you, can you tell me a little bit more about like how you, pick some of those and what brands you're carrying,
Well,
for.
it's just amazing that designers responded so quickly to this. And I was offered a buy of Johnny Was is a very
Mhm.
important label for us.
Yes, we know Johnny Was very well.
So I ordered 50 of them, and I thought,
Mhm.
oh, this is going to be a passing thing. We're not going to need these. I'm not going to jump out and buy a whole lot of these because
Right.
this could be over pretty quickly. Well,
Right.
those 50 masks were gone in less than a day.
Whoa.
And so then I reordered from another designer, and those are gone. I'm waiting
Wow.
on another 100 from Johnny Was, and every day I have customers calling and asking me, "Are they in yet?"
Wow.
So, and then I had some other designers from like France just send us some.
Mm-hmm.
My first mask came from an offering of local designers,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, yes, I'll take 25 of them from this
Mm-hmm.
designer. Didn't know
Uh-huh.
who it was going to be. She left them on our doorstep. So
Okay.
that was our first little collection of masks. It's just
Right.
amazing how quickly this all came together.
Really, really and truly. I mean, to have the Johnny Was product, and now you've got a French designer who's sending you
And a
the
local,
mask as well.
and a
Hmm?
local designer,
And a local designer. Yeah.
and a designer that does a lot of our Mother of the Bride
Mm-hmm.
uh, in California. We ordered from her. So we've had four different sources
Oh, that's
within
excellent.
a couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. You know, one of the things I wanted to pull this up because I didn't want to forget to ask you about this. One of the things that I feel like has been so front and center, and I feel like this is a kind of a good segue into this too, is kind of that whole diversity and inclusion and equity, and kind of spreading out all these different you know, uh, brands. One of the things I've always loved about you, Patty, is that you've always had such a wide offering. And so whenever you're talking about having the French brand and the local brand and, all these different, contributors to, the fabric of your store, what's kind of propelled that decision for you in terms of diversifying, your offering in store?
Well, I think in the early 80s there were stores that offered very classic cookie cutter clothing in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always I was leaning toward very comfortable, artsy, not so much. I had a line of hand dyed silks, and they were washable. And we had a line of cotton knits, and they were very comfortable. And I think I've always been attracted to it's a classic, but with a twist. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and I always wanted to bring brands into the store that are not offered in department stores. That's getting a little trickier because the department stores are now attracted to the brands that we carry. So it's going to be a challenge, I think, going forward to find those designers who have the cash to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Big stores are not interested in small designers because they cannot produce
I
as
see.
much as they need. So uh,
Mm-hmm.
I've always found, a girl that will walk in with some earrings and she pulls out of a shoebox, and it's Kendra Scott. We have Kendra
Wow.
Scott from the very beginning. We've had,
Wow. From
you
the
know,
beginning.
I knew
Yeah, that's
Kendra when,
incredible.
yeah. So we kind of we've
Yeah.
incubated some designers ourselves. We
Yes.
had a designer call in, I can't remember the year now, maybe 95.
I
And
remember I saw the article.
yeah, we had over 200 people apply, and I set up a kind of a board that
Hmm.
um, we looked at what they were doing and offered them advice, directed them here and there.
Hmm.
And we had 200 people over 2 days that we talked to in 15-minute
Unreal.
segments. So it
That's
was
amazing.
this community is filled with very creative people. You know
That's
that.
Yes, we know that very well. But I think that it takes a special eye to be able to cultivate that talent. It's really
Mhm.
been something that I've always been really impressed with you. I mean, it's different countries around the world, it's different nationalities in terms of ethnicities and backgrounds. It's not
Mhm.
always coming from the same kinds of designers. I remember you showed me Byron Lars, and I knew of his brand, but I really became much more familiar with Byron Lars after encountering him in your store, and I was just really
He's incredible.
inspired. He
He's
is
incredible.
incredible. And he's an
His,
African American male designer who, maybe, people know of who he is, but maybe are not, looking at, his collections every single season. And they get a chance to see that in your store alongside of French designers, alongside of local designers, alongside of, and I think that the diversity inclusion that you've really kind of created in your assortment really does open people's eyes to what's possible. And you're talking about the department store difference versus what happens in specialty. I think that a lot of sorry, my little one got tangled. um, we're feeding pups over here while also having this
and
call.
filled up with customers right now.
Yeah, well, and I want to talk about that in just a
Yeah.
minute, because I don't want to. That's key right now. What's happening in reopening retail, but I think because of the climate of what's going on, I felt like you were such a perfect person to have on, because I think that the role that merchandisers play and buyers play and store owners play, and the community seeing a wide range of product from a variety of different sources, is really in your hands, and so I appreciate the commitment to diversity and inclusion that you've had, in store. So tell me, like, let's shift to those customers that are going that are happening in the background, because I'm sure you're like, oh, I know so and so, I see her back there.
Uh,
Can you
but
tell me about?
here's what we did. Okay.
Yeah, tell me.
When, when we reopened, we set it up on a scale. We
Mm-hmm.
had Debbie Daredevil, we had Cindy Chicken Little, and in the middle we had Nervous Nellie. So we created an environment for all of these people to feel comfortable. And
Excellent.
we require a mask. We have alcohol, paper products in the dressing room. We even have an air filter in each dressing room.
Mm-hmm.
We do social distancing. We
Mm-hmm.
require that you wear that mask. If you go in the dressing room and you're by yourself, you can take it off.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been pretty strict about this.
Yes.
And we're comfortable. Our customers are very comfortable. In fact, this is why I love retailing, because one of my really good customers brought her mother-in-law in, and she was 89 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She is 89 years old, and this is her first trip or escape from her retirement community.
Wow.
So she came in and she sat down in the sofa behind me, and I knew from her daughter-in-law that she's a survivor, and she's a survivor of Auschwitz. And we
Wow.
had the most incredible conversation. And those are the rewards of being a small business. And um, I've kept that conversation for the last few days. It was amazing to me, and it put everything else in perspective that,
Mm-hmm.
we'll get through this. We may
Mm-hmm.
be restocking the duct tape,
Mm-hmm.
saying that because I don't know what fall's going to bring. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know right now. Right now, it sounds like
There's a lawnmower that I forgot to put away.
well, one of the things that we're focusing on right now is there are all the weddings that have been
Mm-hmm.
rescheduled this spring for fall. And
Mm-hmm.
we're thinking that October is going to be the month.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just crossing our fingers that this is going to, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of mother of the bride and mother of the grooms and grandmothers that we provide outfits for. And it's been very interesting because I may lose one of my key designers. She is probably going to cease pretty soon. And I think
Yeah.
by January, she will no longer be providing.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge, but we're going to
Mm-hmm.
go forward and
Mm-hmm.
just see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, among small businesses, weathering a storm like this is really challenging. Johnny Was is a much larger label, national brand, international distribution. You've got other brands that are They're
We've had
they're
them
everywhere.
probably for 15 years, and prior to
Right,
the stores, prior to being in big box stores, that has
right.
been a key line for us for a long, long time.
Right. And I mean, for you to be able to identify those kinds of brands before they've become kind of
Hmm.
household names or, that kind of thing is, really important, but understanding kind of what this means for emerging business as well as like very small labels, this is a really difficult storm for them to get through. And, but knowing that you're still patroning them as long as they're able to be patroned, I think really is a silver lining for a lot of designers.
And we're always looking for new designers, young
Mhm.
designers, uh,
Mhm.
emerging designers. I
Mhm.
just feel like it's going to be harder and harder for us to find those designers in the coming months, year. I'm so glad that you're doing the fashion incubator. I'm because a lot of stores, I think, don't support the designer because the designer doesn't understand the business enough. And I think
Mm.
what you're doing is providing us with a designer that already knows where she's going and what she's doing.
Thank you. That's something that is our goal, with the incubator. And we do want to make sure that we're preparing designers to be effective in the marketplace. It's to uncover so much talent and then for them to not successfully make it to market is a shame,
I mean,
so we want to.
you can't ask, you can't walk into a store and say, "Are you interested in my shirt?" Yes. How much is it? Well, I don't know how much time. How much time do you have? How much was your fabric?
Mhm.
A lot of, I mean, most people don't have enough time to do that. Store owners don't,
Mhm.
because we've got so many other
Mhm.
challenges. So this is going to be fabulous for us and for emerging designers.
Thank you. And I just want to thank you for joining us on that journey. Patty actually serves on our advisory board for the ACC Fashion Incubator. And, it's one of these things where, we've really looked to our local retailers and our local industry vets, for support as we learn how to cultivate, this market. We see that there's a ton of talent here. We know that's to be true. And so to see retailers like Patty's, with long-standing, success, weathering those storms, and then to be able to come on the other side of it and say, hey, we can still support these small businesses. We've got a little one over here. Yes, can you do that? Uh-huh, you can. Come here. Um, yeah, so it's one of those things where we're proud to partner with you, Patty, at the
It's
incubator.
been, it has been a fabulous honor for me to serve on that board. And the people that I've met and the people that sit across from me on that board, it's really been a real, uh, it's a wonderful resource for gratification for me. It's been a great
I'm
privilege.
so glad to hear.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's okay. We're okay. That was designed for his playing, so we're all right. Um, Thank you so much, first of all, for just the patience of the eyes moving and checking in and making sure that we've got little people in place. We're active bunch over here. But we're but getting back to the incubator and the camaraderie that we enjoy, but also the vision that we share in really building this Austin market. We couldn't do it without such a wide team. We've got incredible full-time staff and part-time staff that we've brought on to, I mean, top notch,
Mhm.
well seasoned, in the business. Michelle Washington, Michelle French, Julie Martin. I would not do it without these three people, and then, we've got an incredible advisory board that really comes from everywhere from, specialty stores, from global brands to luxury labels.
It's a
I
very
mean,
diverse, yeah, it's a
it's
very
a diverse group. And I think that we're excited about bringing that to, um, you know, really extracting the best of our talent, here in Austin with that group. So thank you, Patty, for what you bring to the table on that.
Thank you.
It's so appreciated. As we're kind of coming to the end of our time here, I know we started a couple minutes late, so I'm going to actually take a couple more minutes. Is you know, as you're looking at the new normal, and kind of where things are going for you, you guys have done an incredible job. You've kind of identified what your customers' needs are. You've provided like the hand sanitizer in the restrooms, and you kind of created this very safe space for them to shop and to experience the brands. What else, where do you see this going for you? I know it's hard to have a crystal ball on things like this, but
Right,
where are you
right,
guys going?
right now. Probably July the 1st, we will announce shortened hours. We're going to be working on a skeleton staff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we're going to offer private shopping on Mondays. We have
Mm-hmm.
found that people love that one-on-one and that focus with
Mm-hmm.
just us. So we'll probably be working 6 days a week. There'll be two of us, and that's how I'm going to get through the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then September, we're hoping that everything is okay and stable. And then we'll slowly resume of what we did in the past.
Got it.
Football games and parties, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
see. I don't know what it's looking like right now. I can't
Yeah.
predict it.
Well, I think, it sounds like, at least there's like a few spaces, to kind of push into, during this time. And you're right. No one has a crystal ball, but it sounds like you guys have a plan, for what this is going to look like for you in the short term, and you guys have done an incredible job of pivoting, through every, scenario. So I have no doubts that you guys will come out on top and stronger than ever, on the other side of, the pandemic.
Well, I hope that is a reality for everybody. We're just lucky because we've been at this for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
We know we know how to use the computer. We know how to use social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just hoping that those that just started their store last year or 3 years ago, I hope they're finding a place, because it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, I really appreciate your time today. It's amazing to me how quickly 30 minutes goes by. It just always feels like
Yes.
it zooms.
Yeah.
But Patty is a dear friend, and I am so glad that we got a chance to spend this time getting a chance to talk about, the garden room, and, just getting to know your business better, and, just knowing what, people can expect. So if you're looking for those private consultations, or you want to come in for a private appointment, see Patty on Mondays. If you're looking for those digital capsules, those video
Just
montages, just
go to our
how do we
website
go to the website now so you can shop online and
at
shop for e-commerce?
gardenroomboutique.com.
What's the website again, just so we'll know?
Gardenroomboutique.com.
Gardenroomboutique.com.
And
So,
follow us on Instagram.
oh yeah, let's definitely.
Garden
So
Room ATX.
Garden Room ATX on all social. Okay, great. So thank you so much. So guys, again, gardenroomboutique.com and Garden Room ATX on social and Instagram. So your Instagram and your Facebook is really where you can find them there. So I just want to take a minute, guys, to say thank you so much for joining us. ACCFI Presents is really an opportunity for us to talk to various retailers, about reopening retail. And I think this is going to be something that we'll continue to talk about, how retailers are opening in this climate. Again, my name is Nina Means. I'm the director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator. Thank you so much just for joining us here. Me and my little one poking in from time to time. But you can catch us on all of our social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter at ACC Fashion Incubator. You can also join our mailing list at fashion.incubator@austincc.edu. So thank you again, guys. We look forward to seeing you next week. We've got a reprise of our talk with Sam Alexander. So feel free to catch up with us then. If you hit subscribe on this YouTube channel, you'll get a notification every time we go live. And so we'll be here back on Monday for Coffee Talk at 10 a.m., Wednesday for Workshop Wednesdays, and Friday for ACCFI Presents. So thank you again. And Patty, it's a pleasure to have you.
Bye. Bye, Jonathan.
We'll both see you guys next week. So have a good one. All right.
All right.
Have a good. All right.
Bye.